Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. This is another Spurs chat where I've got three very, very special guests. Now, of course, the transfer window has now closed. Tottenham Hotspur have signed 5 players. 10 players have gone out the door and 6 have also gone out on loan. As I said, I've got 3 very special guests. Let me introduce them. Ramon Vega, a former Tottenham Hotspur star, of course, 1999 League Cup winner with Spurs, 84 first-team appearances, 8 goals, 23 caps for Switzerland. Ramon, lovely to have you back on the channel.
I'm always delighted to speak to you guys. Good evening. How are you?
Very good, very good. We've also got the host of Last Word on Spurs, Ricky Sachs. Ricky, lovely to see you last night and lovely to see you tonight as well.
I know, Chris. 3 days in a row. What are we playing at, eh? What's going to happen here? I tell you, my God, what we get ourselves into by doing this? Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
What's it been like for you then, Rick, the transfer window?
Do you know what I'm going to say, Chris? It's actually nice you asking me the questions tonight rather than me having to dish them out. So I'm looking forward to this. I'll tell you what I think in about 5 minutes' time.
And Ricky Norwood, we normally have these chats when it's very difficult to talk about Spurs, you know, certainly in the last 18 months. But, you know, things are a lot positive now, aren't they?
Oh, there's so much more positive, man. There's a new energy within the club, which I'm loving to see right now. And I just hope that it continues, man, you know. And Chris and Rick, like, thanks for the invitation last night. I was busy, and that's why I couldn't make it, because yeah, the invite didn't reach me. I missed that text, and yeah, but I'm glad you guys had a good one.
It was a great time. Thank you very much. Ramon, let's start with you. Now, the last time you were on this channel, Tottenham Hotspur was searching for a manager. We spoke at length about, you know, the possibility of a new manager coming in. What have you made of Nuno Espirito Santo's time at Spurs so far? Because, of course, 3 wins out of 3 in the Premier League. We're through to the group stages of the Europa Conference League. It was a decent pre-season as well. Have you been impressed with Nuno?
Oh, you have to be impressed. You know, listen, for the short time he's in there, yeah, don't forget, he's not coming in May or in April. He came in pretty much right at the beginning of the pre-season. You have about 30 days, 45 days to prepare your first team. And middle of the transfer period, and of course, the major saga with Harry Kane on top of that, as a new manager, having all of that as well. I'm telling you that now, very impressed by a manager like that. You have to, he was calm, very content, very organized. I know him as a very organized manager, and he's very detailed orientated. That's why I'm not very surprised that Tottenham got these results, because he really prepares the team to the bottom of every single detail of the opponent. He really studies them and makes sure that every player who goes on the pitch knows to know what these opponents are. And that's Nuno. And his signature starts to really, I'm actually very impressed, because 3 games, you know, let's be honest, you know, we're at top of the table. Let's enjoy that. But never better time now to be a Spurs supporter, to be honest with you know, because of really enjoying good energy. The team really, I can see more fighting spirit, that attitude. The Man City game, absolutely fantastic. You know, so heads up to Nuno, and I hope it keeps going like that.
Ramon, as a former defender at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, what do you think that Nuno has changed? Because, of course, that back 4 is exactly the same as last year, the one that all the fans used to get on the back of. You know, what has he changed in the defensive area, in your opinion? Listen,
sometimes a manager can change just very small and suddenly clicks to the defense. That happened in my time as well. You know, when George Graham came into it, something we had a very good run and we won the League Cup. You know, at that time, I can't say the name because we don't like him either. You know, so Cameron, my partner in those days, but we had a very good run and we won the League Cup. And just by coming in George Graham at that time and tweaking and training the back 4 to detail, and that I think what's Nuno done. He's really giving the back 4 and one the midfield center player. It's very important, because we all say about the back 4, but the back 4 is also relying on their center midfield players as well, how well they're defending, you know, how they're good covering the back 4. Because the minute there's this organization, the whole back 4 goes all over the place, and that's where the danger comes into. So I think the signature of Nuno to be very detailed and organized, it shows how well the defense actually playing.
Rick, let's come to you now. Before we talk about the transfer window, what have you made of Nuno's time at Spurs so far? Because surely winning 3 out of 3, sitting top of the Premier League, surely he's going to win the Manager of the Month award, isn't he?
Do you know what's funny, Chris? I mean, the way that managerial search went at one point, it was almost like a pick and mix selection. I just couldn't believe what I was envisaging. At one point, you know, he thought to himself, when he was going down the route of Gattuso, I thought anyone was going to get a call. I thought you might have got a call at one point. It was just to a point where realistically, you just thought, where are we going? And I must say, having watched Nuno the first 2 seasons at Wolves, I was really, really impressed with him. And then I saw everything with the Arsenal job. And I'll be honest, I was massively concerned that he could have gone to Arsenal. And I think the problem Spurs had is that the minute you go to talk to Antonio Conte and you don't get that done, anybody else is massively underwhelming. And I feel sorry for Nuno because I think his appointment was clouded by the fact that Spurs could have gone for Conte, could have got Conte. But realistically, I think where Spurs are at right now, the level Spurs are at, I think Nuno is the perfect manager for Tottenham. And I genuinely do believe that. I know it's very, very early days. I think if you look at him as a person, I always get slated for saying this, but he reminds me so much of Poch. And I know people are sitting there screaming, saying, hold on a second, Poch didn't win anything. But what you've got to take into consideration is forget the lack of trophies. What Poch did is he actually brought us all together and made us feel reunited again as one. And I think Nuno is already showing the signs of doing that in these first couple of months in charge. I genuinely do believe that. And already I feel more excited and more included as a supporter. I know it's so early days. And, you know, at the end of the day, if someone told you before the start of the season that you would have 3 clean sheets out of Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, no one would have believed you. 9 points out of 9. It's been a fantastic start. I'm going to come on to obviously the transfer window. My only concern for him is that because he started so well, I feel for him that a little bit that he's almost now going into the rest of the campaign until January, really having to manage this squad so delicately. And I feel sorry for him because I think these first 3 games, I think he should have been massively rewarded even further by having the tools available to him to have the flexibility to change the team. And my only concern is, and we're going to come on to it, of course, I'm already going, you can see I'm already frustrated already by the end of the window. I think with the squad that he's got already there, a couple of injuries and all this wonderful work to begin with can easily come away. But he's made a fantastic start, massive fan of him. And he's one of the managers that, I'll be honest with you, when we were linked with him, although coming from Wolves, they're a side that, of course, that they don't have the same ambitions as Tottenham. But the fans, although there was an agreement really with the fans that maybe it was the right time for him to go, he did wonderful things there. You know, got them back-to-back Europa League finishes. They played some decent football. He progressed players. I think that's the big key for Tottenham. It was important to bring a manager in that was going to get the best out of the players. And he's a coach first and foremost. And Spurs needed a coach. And they've got a coach in Nuno. And I just hope, like I say now, with the results he's obviously given us so far, that the majority of the fans get behind him, start to believe in him, because I genuinely feel he could be a real, real good appointment for Tottenham. Honestly, I feel he could be a really good appointment for us.
Ricky, let's come to you. As Rick just said there, you know, the Tottenham Hotspur fans are smiling again. You know, I know it's early days, but 3 games out of 3, you know, 3 wins, 3 clean sheets, using the same defence as last season. There are lots of positives at the moment, isn't there?
There's loads of positives at the moment, Chris, and I think it's easy to see. I think it's there to see. The one thing with the appointment of Nuno, for me, I was battered, bruised, and broken by the end of that. Do you know what I mean? And then once he came in, I told you on the last show, he wasn't really on my list as the next potential manager, but he's come in with a calming influence. He's not up for the rubbish in the press conferences. You can see, you know, if he doesn't want to answer a question, he won't. You know, he's not up for the digs and the fluff around headlines. He's there to do a job, and I think ever since Mr. Levy, Daniel Levy, brought in Paratici, as everyone went out how to pronounce it. Since he brought him in, who he's been after for years, I think there was a whole new energy about this squad. We've got a football man making football decisions for the side. You can see he's almost like a second manager himself. You know, when you see him sitting in the dugout or there as a, you know, on the sidelines. So I think this is going to be a Paratici. I'm going to get there. It's going to be his side. He's going to be making the decisions. And yes, the final decision for who comes in, who goes, will be down to Nuno. But he's going to have so much control over this side in who we bring in and how we're playing. And he's a football man, Chris. So he can see like what needs, you know, he can see that we needed a creative midfielder and stuff like that. Yes, we didn't manage to get one through the door, but the one big positive that I can see is, especially in that defense, is the gaps. Now, last year, playing Man City, Wolves, and Watford, you know, soon as one of their, you know, like whether it be Sarr, Adama, or whoever, Grealish in Man City, whenever those guys would go past us, you would see these massive gaps opening. You would see the defensive partnership go in different directions. Right back is somewhere else. Left back is doing rash sliding challenges, and it just left us open. And to see us as a unit, not just at back four with the addition of Tanga, who have been fantastic so far, but like Ramon said there, you know, the two midfielders like Skippy and Højbjerg being there and having this unit, you know, let's fight for each other. Let's look after each other. If someone goes forward or if someone gets out of position, there's somebody there to cover. I don't know whether you saw the stats, the heat map of Højbjerg against Watford. It was his midfield. It was his midfield. So these little things that we're seeing is just the baseline. Yeah, this is just the baseline. The 1-0 wins, we know we can score. The 1-0 wins, the clean sheet, this is just the baseline. And I think that the ceiling for him is going to be massive. You know, it's just the beginning of this whole new project. It's not a rebuild. It's like we're starting from scratch and we're building from the bottom up and we're building with solid foundations. And, you know, like it's a great start. We're not going to get carried away. Of course, we can get a little bit, but we're not going to get carried away. But it is a great start to see that hunger, that desire, that unity, that they're being combative and defensive, and, you know, not being afraid of the opposition, not just sitting off and waiting for them to attack us so that we can counterattack. There's a mix and blend of play happening right there, and I think this is a great start, and it's only the beginning. So, like, well done to Nuno and that side so far. Let's keep it going. Let's keep building on it.
Just wanted to talk a little bit about your point there, Ricky, about Fabio Paratici and Steve Hitchin sitting on the bench, shouting instructions. Ramon, let's come to you as a former Tottenham Hotspur player. How do you feel about that? Because I don't know, I feel it's a bit strange to have a director of football and Steve Hitchin on the bench, because they are shouting instructions. Who are the players listening to, the manager or them? Ramon, I think you're on mute.
No, we can't hear you, Ramon. Come on. It's that wine. That's what it is. It's all that wine.
The wine's flowing.
Oh, we are having technical issues.
I feel like we're going from talk sport to
Hey, I think you're back in.
Ramon, are you there?
I can hear you very well. But you can't see me, I'm assuming.
That's it. We can see you. We can hear you.
we've got you.
Ramon, just wanted to ask your opinion about Fabio Paratici and Steve Hitchin sitting on the bench, you know, shouting instructions. Who are the players listening to, Nuno or them?
Oh, listen, there will always be Nuno. There's no doubt whatsoever. I think these two, they was just something heated up, and they like to have the input and scream it in. You know, when you're down there at the sideline and you're just behind the players, you know, that was where the emotions go through. If you're passionate about football, there's no question mark. You can't just sit there like an ice block. You're there, you want to put your input into it. But there's no question mark here that Nuno is the boss here. That's it.
Right, Ramon, want to talk about the transfer window. We have brought in 5 players: Christian Romero, Pierluigi Gollini, Brian Hill, Emerson Royal, and Pape Matar Sarr. What have you made of Tottenham's business in this transfer window?
Well, I think, listen, let's go back in terms of the reality check of the situation within football. Listen, we're coming out, not even coming out completely, a major pandemic. And
there we go. We've got you back.
Hello?
We can hear you now.
Hey.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. You're a bit echoey.
Can I just say, this sums up Paratigi's approach to this transfer window. I'm so sorry. This is what happens when you negotiate for 10 players at once.
This is what happens when you do live shows, see?
Mate, it's definitely not on my side.
That's all right, Ramon. You carry on.
I can hear you well.
Ramon, so what have you made of Tottenham's business for these 5 players coming in?
Can you hear me now? Oh, fucking Lord.
Ramon, we can hear you perfectly fine.
Really?
I prefer this to the summer window.
Oh, wonderful, mate. Oh, listen, there's a good nice transfer window finish, mate. Yeah, listen, going back to your question, financially point of view, I'm actually very surprised how much money is actually got into major transfers, these transfers, especially in England. When you consider Barcelona is bankrupt, has to sell or loan players out because they're struggling even to get the salary paid at the end of the month. From Tottenham's point of view, I think they need to make a very clever move to get some people out, but also move in a balanced thing. You can't do that with one transfer window. It's impossible. You have to have a major budget with money to get this sorted out. And I think from Tottenham point of view, done very well considering how difficult financially the situation is in the market, because not everybody will accept any price because they want to maximize the biggest money in any transfer. And I don't think it's just the point now for Tottenham to spend too much money on a player. I think it would be much wiser to rebuild on a more recovery situation financially and come potentially January or next year, and they really put some money into it when potentially the financial situation is better.
Ramon, do you think that Tottenham have made the right signings defensively? Of course, Emerson Royal got over the line last night, and of course, Christian Romero, the defender of the year.
Quickest turnaround I've ever seen in my life. One month ago, it was about, like, it shows you again. Barcelona signs a guy a month ago. He already 30 days later, he has to come to us. This was exactly the example I was telling you before in terms of transfer windows, you know. In terms of money, that's the real situation. If you go to the lower league, it's even worse. Some of them are absolutely struggling financially, you know, leave alone to even pay the salary some of the players. So yes, to your question, I think it's a good signing. They've done some very good signing with Romero as well, and I think the one went out. It was good to get them out because I think some young blood came into their team.
Ricky, let's come to you. What have you made of Tottenham's business? Of course, 5 players have come in. Have we signed the right players? Have we done enough?
You know what? I think. Oh, sorry. I didn't know which one it was, Rick. I didn't know which one it was.
It is you.
Oh, sorry.
You know what? Honestly, like I think the quality aspect is what I really like. I don't like spending money for spending money's sake. If we can't get the ones in that we want, I wouldn't want to spend 20 mil on any midfielder just so that we've kind of tick that box. You're right there, Ramon. What happened there, bro?
He's looking at the comments. Is it carrying
on? Right.
Oh, crack.
Don't worry, Ramon. You can sing us a song in a minute.
Oh, come on, you Spurs. Go, Ricky. Go for it, mate.
We are staying up.
Oh gosh.
But on the back of what Ramon was saying there about the youth coming in, like, it's great to get these these wonder kids, these ones that want to come and want to play for us and want to improve. I think we've we've got to see where our level is as well. You know, like not everyone's going to want to come in to play back up to Harry Kane and sit on the bench or maybe play in the Conference League. Maybe next year, once we become like a more attractive, we can attract better and bigger signings. You know what I mean? The ones that we really want. So I think they've done well. I would have loved them to do more. I would have loved them to brought in Milenkovic as another centre back, or Neves would have been nice, or Adama would have been nice. But all right, that didn't happen. Let's look at what we've got and let's keep it moving. You know, let's build on it. The one thing that I do love is seeing that side improve and step up, and you know what I mean, and be the players that we love to see. You know, so of course I would have loved more. But I'm kind of happy with what we've got, and instead of just splashing the cash to tick a box, I don't mind waiting for the ones that we want, whether it comes in January or next year summer.
Rick, what about you?
I'm going to be honest. So I've been so hard to concentrate. Sorry, guys. I came on here ready to vent about the transfer window, and I'm pissing myself. all joking aside.
I'm cracking. I'll tell you what, Chris. Best ever show.
I feel so bad because I'm about to bring the mood down now. I feel so bad by doing this. But all joking aside, guys, for me, if you were to ask me to rate this window out of 10, and this is me being brutally honest, I'll probably give it a 4. I just feel so underwhelmed. I really do feel so underwhelmed. And the thing people keep saying to me is, well, hold on, you kept Harry Kane, but hold on, Harry Kane was always a Tottenham player. He had 3 years left on his contract. Kane, it was in our interest to keep Kane. Why would we have sold Harry Kane? The frustrating thing for me is I look at Spurs' centre-backs, and don't get me wrong, Sanchez and Dyer have made a great start to the season. However, I don't think you're going to keep the consistency amongst those two players throughout the course of the season. If you're going to bring Christian Romero in, for me, you had to bring in another centre-back to complement him. I know many are sitting there saying we're going to play with 3 at the back and have Sanchez and Dyer. But, yeah, I mean, listen, I just feel frustrated again. How can we be in a situation with Tottenham where Harry Kane is our only senior striker at the football club? And I'm sure Dane Scarlett in time will be great. I'm sure in time will be fantastic. But we're again in a situation where Harry Kane is the club's only senior striker. We haven't replaced Carlos Vinicius, although, like I say, he didn't score many goals anyway in terms of the whole competition. But we've lost 11 Premier League goals, I think 11 to 13 Premier League goals in Gareth Bale. They're not in the team. And no offence, Brian Hill, I'm sure will be great. But again, he's a player that we're looking at for the future. I'm sure he'll get games in the Europa Conference League. I'm sure he'll be great in the cup competitions. I'm sure he'll get a break in the Premier League. But if you're telling me overall, have we got a squad right now to challenge the likes of City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United? I don't think we have. And that really upsets me because I think Nuno is a great coach. And again, for me, it's again going into a window with Tottenham where you think to yourself, if only just a couple more heads, if we only got a couple more heads that we needed, Tottenham could have really, for me again, could be pushing for a top 4. But where I look at things right now, I find it hard to really think we're going to be able to crack into that top 4. Although I know many accept this is going to be a transition season, but we've got 9 points out of 9 to start with. Why not give the guy the tools to actually go on, push on, and see if we can actually break into that top 4? I'm not saying it would have been easy. I'm not saying it would have, would have had a huge amount of money. But what I want to know is where that money's gone for Vlahovic. Where's that money gone for Martinez? This 65 million, 80 million bids that we had in, where's this money gone? Where's it gone? That's my frustration.
You say that, Rick, about the goals. Gareth Bale got 16 goals in all competitions last season. Carlos Vinicius got 10. That's 26 goals. Yeah. Where will those goals be coming from this season when the likes of Harry Kane and Hummington aren't playing? Yeah.
And can I just say, I'm not being critical because, obviously on my channel, I try and be as honest as I can. What I would say is, again, when you look at across the pitch what Spurs are contributing, Bergwijn, Lucas, Dele, I think that combination last season, correct me if I'm wrong, please someone tell me, I think that got us 4 or 5 goals in the team, in the squad overall. So it's not like we've got goals spreading amongst the squad. And again, we're in a situation where an injury to Harry Kane before Christmas, we're in big trouble. I know Son has stepped up, don't get me wrong, but we know with Sonny, bless him, that he goes through periods of goals and that's not always consistent. So my biggest concern for me is that, again, we're in a window where, look, I hope we obviously integrate Ndombele. Chris, this is obviously one of the main subjects we had talking about last night. Of course, will Nuno integrate Ndombele back in? He's a wonderful player. I know, obviously, we share the opinion that he's a great player, but ultimately, if the attitude isn't right, then it's hard. But I do think if you look at that midfield at the moment, Skip, Højbjerg, Dele, for me, that's not going to be sustainable for the rest of the season. So we are going to have to look at that. And I think Ndombele, this system for me is perfectly suited to Ndombele. It's so perfectly suited. It's just whether we can get the attitude right for him. Because he's a wonderful player. And, again, the thing is, Tottenham starting 11, you saw it against City. Spurs have got a starting 11 and there's a decent starting 11 that they've got absolutely no doubt they can challenge anybody on their day. But my concern is that the squad itself, over the course of 38 games a season, I just don't think we're going to have enough to break us that top four. And it's a real shame because I think Nuno is a progressive coach. I think the football will improve, but my concern is that we haven't actually given him the tools in order to improve it. And that's my frustration. That's why I say it's a 4 out of 10 window. Yes, we've kept Harry Kane. Yes, we've signed Christian Romero. Yes, Brian Hill might be great for the future. We need players for now. We need players that are actually going to take Tottenham to that next level. And that's why I'm a little bit frustrated by the end of the transfer window.
Yeah, but you know what, Rick? No, I was just going to 1 minute. Let me butt in. Sorry. But you know what, Rick? It's like, we've had, obviously financial issues and we've had this foreign player limit issue as well. And all right, let's not look at incomings right now, but all of those outgoings that we've managed to do, I think has put us in a better position to go and get who we want to get in the next transfer window or the summer. We're always waiting. We're always waiting for one person or two people to leave so that we can sign somebody. That's why I really applaud the club for getting Emerson Royal. Even though we would have had four right backs, they were like, you know what? Let's bring him in. We're going to terminate Serge's contract. But when have we ever seen that type of direction or that type of action from Spurs?
Yeah, and I've got to say, I must say, I know Rick's, I know Rome wasn't built in a day. I know we're at the start of yet another rebuilding process. But my frustration is that, look, Nuno has shown over the course of the first 3 games, which were 3 tough games, City, Wolves, and then I say the result of the weekend against a Watford side, again, a promotion side, they're always difficult teams. For me, the fact that he got 9 points out of them, I think there could have been a real case to say, do you know what, we're going to really reward him for that start and give him Traore, give him Neves, give him one of those two. Because I do think, although there was all that frustration about someone like bringing Traore in terms of the end product, my argument is that, hold on a second, okay, we're frustrated about the end product with Traore, but if he's requested for Son and Kane, there's goals there. Yeah. So it's, again,
but there's no way you would have spent 50 mil on Traore, right?
No, not 50 million, no. But I do think that my worry is that we will look back on this window over the course of the next 7 to 8 games, and we will think, what if only we pushed a little bit harder? And that's my biggest frustration with Tottenham. I always think whenever we go into a window, we always come out of it one or two players short. Always. And I can't think of a window where we've ever come out and thought to ourselves, do you know what? We've got everybody in place. And that's the frustration for me. That is the frustration. But listen, he's been a terrific start as a head coach. This is the thing, and I don't want to be negative. If we can keep everybody fit, we've got a great first 12, 13 players. But we know over the course of the season with injuries, that's very difficult to do. We're in 4 competitions. 4 competitions. One of those competitions doesn't even reward us with Champions League football. It's a development tool. That's how I see the Europa Conference League. It's a development tool. So ultimately, I mean, listen, Romero's going to be great. I just wish we had that transformative defender next to him. Because my concern is that people were saying to me, we bought Romero. We need a leader. Bolton, we've just spent Romero. We might need a leader next to him. And I think, Chris, you've said this as well. We've spoken obviously a lot off air. And you said, Eric Dyer, he's Portuguese. And I say Portuguese, speaks Portuguese. Nuno likes him a lot. I think Dyer will be a key figurehead in this team in terms of being that leader. So it's going to be interesting to see now when Romero does get that break, or whether he does opt to go free at the back.
Ramon, let's come to you. Ricky says there 4 out of 10 in this window. Is that fair? 4 out of 10?
No, it's not fair at all. I'm not agree with Rick in this case. I think much higher, considering again the reality check of football industry and financial industry is in place. spending just for the sake of spending, ever playing in, when you have too many players on the books, is not balanced to start with. I know you're laughing, it's very echoey, I can hear myself.
I just want you to do a rendition of "I Will Always Love You" with the Houston style, Ramon. That's what
Mate, Chris, I think it's on you. I'm trying to do everything here, but it's not on my side. Oh, this is a proper Muppet show, mate. I'll tell you that now.
Come on. It is frustrating, though, isn't it? As Rick rightly said there, we wanted a creative midfielder, we wanted another striker, and when you think that Carlson is just out last season,
listen, the reality out there, Fabrizio just came into the team. He looked at the list of the players you had to get out first. If I was a sporting director, I was as cute as me.
Can I ask a question to Ramon? Ramon, let me ask you a question. You said you disagree it's 4 out of 10. Can I ask you, with the signings that we've made, are we any closer to the top 4?
I would say we're close to the top 4, because I think we actually only flirted with the top floor, because we've never really been with the top floor. So I think
my question is to you. Like, obviously, Nuno's come in, and of course we accept the first season is a transitional season. But ultimately, the end goal, of course, is for the club. They've got one of the best stadiums in the world, one of the best training grounds. The ultimate ambition of the club is to get back into that top 4. That's why Heung-min Son signed that new contract. That's why Harry Kane has stayed at the club.
Let's not forget, Rick, where we come from.
Of course.
Where we actually started with Poch. Don't forget, we had a lot of seasons with no signings whatsoever, and everyone was complaining that we're not getting players in, and we don't really want to have anything at the club or to be successful. We went all the way to the Champions League final with such a squad. And on after that season, started with Gareth Bale and Mourinho and so on. We all jumped up and down. We're going to win potentially the league. Not happen at all. Now pandemic came in the middle. And Nuno is definitely, without a doubt, the solution for a rebuild. And Fabrizio had a hard job even to get players out where we're on the list you didn't need it. And to have some quality players in, the situation Tottenham is very difficult.
Ramon, what do you think Tottenham's goal is this season? To finish in the top 4 and perhaps put a trophy in the cabinet?
Well, I do hope so, because it's been a long time not having a trophy, If I look back, one is mine, then 2008, and now we're hoping for very soon to have something. So I think with the new stadium, with the new start of the season, 9 points, 3 out of 3, very positive energy. I hope the team and Nuno keeps that spirit, but there's a lot of competition out there to be part of it. I hope the players keep fit and not injured, and we might be to a good season now.
Ramon, I'll tell you what, I hope you come on when we've just lost the game, because we need you. We need the smile. We need the positivity on this.
Chris, I'm so sorry. Chadman Mama, is it Jesus we're talking?
I'm hearing you as well, by the way.
To Dynamo Zagreb, losing to Arsenal in that week. We could have done with you on the channel. Ricky, let's come to you. Let's talk a little bit about Tanguy Ndombele, because, of course, Rick mentioned him earlier. It's a frustrating situation, isn't it?
Mate, you know what? I'm so disappointed. Ndombele was the one player that summer that I wanted. I saw him, destroy the Champions League. I thought, oh my gosh, like if he comes into our team and he kind of does what he's supposed to, we could be on fire. So to kind of see and hear that every season, ever since he's been here, he's wanted to leave. Do you know what I mean? He turned up under Poch, and Poch gave him the double sessions, and straight away he was like, "Oh, I don't know whether this is for me." And then Mourinho's come in. He's had to fight again, and we saw in the Amazon documentary that he asked to leave because he had to fight to get into the team. And then he's knuckled down. He's gone again. And then to get to this summer and for him to want out again, I'm just like, I'm so disappointed in him because he has it all. He has it all. He could be the midfielder that destroys the whole Premier League. He could be on top for stats, goals, assists. He could be that creator in the midfield. He could play in that Dele Alli position and rip it up. But it's all to do with him, and it's all to do with what's within. Do you know what I mean? So we need him to want to be inside, to want to fight, to want to destroy the league, to want to be on top for stats and goals and assists and all of that. And even if the motivation is to leave at the end of the season, he still has to do it for us. Like, he still has to turn up for us. At the end of the day, he's still the record sign. We're paying him, 200 grand a week, odd, plus bonuses and all that palaver. So I want him to be. I want him to be frustrated, but I want him to be frustrated enough to kind of fix up, look sharp, and kind of put himself in a position where he's like, you know what, I'm going to knuckle down in training. You know what, I'm going to show everyone that, I deserve to be in the starting 11. I deserve to be the man that is looked to. Do you know what I mean? So he has really disappointed me. I'm really upset that, again, we're dealing with this scenario with Ndombele again. And you know what? I know that there was that tweet and that story that came out about him being upset that Serge and Sissoko were about to leave. Well, part of me thinks it might be a good thing. Not having those two to lean on and those two to kind of like help him through the dark days might help him to kind of put that fire underneath his backside and start fighting for this team. Start fighting for the badge and the shirt. And like I say, even if at the very least it is to get away at the end of the summer, like next year, then start fighting, man. Start showing us what we paid the money for. Like, we've seen it in flashes, but we have not seen it consistently over a course of a season. Some of the games were only 60 minutes. Then he's getting subbed. Look, I don't want to see that. I want to see him want to be on the field. I want to see him upset that he's being, subbed off. I want to see, him upset he's not in the first 11. That's what I want to see, from him. And I want to see him jump in and elbow some people out in midfield to put himself in it. But I don't know whether that's going to happen because it has to come from within. Like Mourinho had that conversation with Dele on the Amazon documentary. And I saw an interview of Dele before this season started. I can't remember who it was with, but he basically
it was with Goal. Great interview.
Yeah, but he basically reiterated what Mourinho was saying to him. Yeah, people were like, they was asking him about his performance, and he was like, "Look, it's on me. Like, I take responsibility for not being inside. I take responsibility for not turning up and performing. Like, it's on me." And we've seen, not the old Dele, but we're seeing a new Dele, new Dele. Anyway, but we're seeing a new Dele. Do you know what I mean? And I hope that is the beginning for something for him. And you can't deny his effort, his energy, his want, his desire to again do what I'm asking Ndombele to do right now. If there's an example out there, look at Dele. Do you know what I mean? So. Yeah. That's what he needs to do. That's what Tanguy needs to do, man. He needs to look within and he needs to motivate from within for himself. So fingers crossed we can get that to happen. And fingers crossed Nuno's the man to drag it out of him.
Do you know what, Rick, let's come to you. We talk about, we need a creative midfielder in this transfer window. When we've got Tanguy Ndombele and we've got Giovanni Lo Celso, are they not just staring us in the face? Do we not have the players capable of being that player who's going to link up Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, etc.?
Do you know what, Chris? It's a real conundrum because we were just, again, discussing this before. What is Lo Celso's best position? We don't know. What is Sessegnon's best position? We don't know. There's just, again, what is Dele's best position? I can't question this season Dele's work rate or commitment. But my concern with Dele is that I don't think this formation is suited to him. And it's made for Ndombele. I can't tell you how much this formation is made for Ndombele. Honestly, and that is the real frustration, that if Nuno can get a tune out of him, because again, like I said at the start of the show, I do think that Pochettino and Nuno are very similar characters. They are managers that will put an arm around you. They want to get the best out of you in terms of that emotive side of a player. And I just think, you know, if Nuno is struggling with Ndombele, then. But what I want to think about now is the fact that Spurs, for a key reason, allowed Sergio Aurier to go, obviously to pay up his contract. Sissoko is no longer there. It's almost in a way that Spurs have removed the potential distractions from Ndombele's game now. His friends, I would say friends, but his close teammates are no longer there. Maybe this is what he needs to have that reset to maybe kick him into gear. I really genuinely hope this is going to be the moment that will change, you know, his Spurs career. And, you know, I know he dreams of moves to Barcelona, Real Madrid, whoever it may be, Juventus, but ultimately, without that attitude, you will never make it. Everybody knows in life that, you know, you can have all the ability in the world, but if you do not work hard, if you do not put in the effort, you will never get anywhere. You can have all the talent in the world. And Ndombele, believe it or not, he will get that move one day. He will get that move if he shows that ethic, work rate, commitment. And I've got no doubt there's a player there. And this is the frustration. You know, we are, 2-3 seasons on, and we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that consistently. We can't have a player that's going to give us 65 minutes. We can't. It just isn't doable. Lo Celso, for me, again, flashes. We've seen, you know, bits that look good on the eye. Again, not consistent. So I think, like I said to you earlier, this midfield for Tottenham is a big problem, I think, in terms of across 4 competitions. I do think we're going to get found out. I think the style of football, as a Spurs fan for me, I'm willing to be patient and give it time, because we are trying to go in a new direction, new philosophy. And I think you can already see that Nuno is a man that can very much warm to the people. We can already see that. So I think the football will come in time, but this midfield isn't going to work full time in terms of it. We're going to need to make some adjustments and tweaks, and bring Ramon back as soon as possible, please.
Rick, you know what though? Like two things, right? Two things. Lo Celso, right? Lo Celso. We've seen more out of Ndombele than we have Lo Celso.
Yeah,
right. And for all of the criticism that we give to Ndombele, we've still seen more out of him than we have Lo Celso. So my eye is on Lo Celso this year, right? And secondly, last year, what would you have said was the biggest problem that we had to sort out?
Defense. Last season.
Last season, right? So defense, right? So that is what I think Nuno has concentrated on the most. So that's why.
By only bringing one centre back in, is that enough?
No, it's not. He's brought in a centre back and he's brought in a right back. We wanted, I think, all of us, we wanted at least 2 centre backs and a right back, right? So so we've got, and I'm going to do this like, you know, new signing thing, but we've got Tanganga as a new right back right now, and possibly centre back. So that's the Tomiyasu. You know, when we linked with him, we wanted a centre back up right back. So Tanganga slipped into that, and then he's brought in Romero. And instead of, because I don't know, of course you know the report, but if we didn't get Romero, then we was after three other centre halves.
Mediocre centre halves. Right.
So instead of going for the mediocre,
I love Ricky mediocre.
Instead of going for that, the level underneath, they've put all their eggs into one basket and gone, you know what? Let's just get the man, and we'll work it out. Now, none of us expected Dyer and Sanchez to turn up the way that they have. Sanchez,
but do you think, Ricks, I've got to ask you, Ricks, do you think, Ricks, so over the course of the season, that's going to be enough, those centre-back? Be honest, do you think Dyer and Sanchez are not going to make a mistake in these next 9 months?
Of course they're going to make a mistake, Rick. But my thing is that how are they reacting to the problems that are being created? So let's not talk about Man City right now. Wolves. Wolves were on us. Adama was on us, right? They were breaking lines. They were getting through balls. Okay, cool. You know, we had that fantastic Hugo save, you know, as well against Wolves. But I look at that back line now, and I'm like, oh, wow. I think Romero turning up has provided a competition for places for especially those two. You look at the attitude of Sanchez, who was touted about to every other,
Yeah,
you
it
know what
was
I mean,
every
team
European club. Yeah, yeah.
as a make weight, right? So if anyone's got an excuse to kind of down tools, it's Sanchez, but he hasn't. He's actually gone, all right, cool. Well, let's see. I've got the spot right now. Let's see.
Yeah.
What if he turns into the player that we've always known is in there?
Rick, do you know what? We know, Rick, when we saw Sanchez alongside Vertonghen, he looked like an unbelievable prospect, and he looked like he could go on to actually become one of Spurs' best defenders. And then he massively lost his way because we changed and shot that defence. But my massive concern again for me is because of the erratic nature of both Sanchez and Dyer over the course of the last 18 months, I still feel that we've got the centre-back in Romero, but I'm still massively concerned that not having that additional centre-back that's, of a nature, of a stature that's going to work alongside Romero. For me, I'm just massively concerned that's going to affect us in the course of January. And again, my worries between now and January, how many points may we lose by not pushing the boat out for another centre-back? Do you see where I'm coming from? That's my only concern. I don't know how sustainable Dyer and Sanchez's form is going to be between now and January.
Well, if I can, Ramon, let's come to you because, of course, as a former central defender, I want to know your thoughts on players like Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez. Do you think that they're good enough to play for Spurs? Because, of course, we saw them last season. They were heavily slated by a number of Tottenham Hotspur players. Number of Tottenham Hotspur fans. And
I would be worrying if it was the players,
this summer we've gone out and got Christian Romero. We've gone out and bought Emerson Royal as well. Do you think they will improve the defence? Do you think that Nuno Espirito Santo will fancy the likes of Eric Dyer for the whole season?
Yeah. Well, listen, I think Eric Dyer and Chance has done a brilliant job so far at the beginning of the season. I think the question mark is not because of they underperformed last season in various times, but I think the season from last year was completely all over the place. I think too many egocentric scenarios was in the dressing room, starting obviously with the number one, with the manager. That feeling of United were potentially Pochettino, or now Nuno starting to give in the dressing room, to be kind of the humble, working, and concentrating. I see this as the ultimate kind of last three games. I see the kind of the success of Sanchez and Dyer really starting to work together very well. Of course, we need some replacements because it's a long season. There's a lot of competition to be playing into it. Injuries coming up into it. But, with Romero coming into it, replacing it, I think that we have enough at this point. I think I'm more worried about more the central midfield player scenario covering the back fours, because that's, at this point, was working very well. And I think with the Danish guy, we're really kind of working solid there. If he goes out, I'm more worried about that, because then the balance between the centre midfield player defensively and the back four starts to be unbalanced. And that's where I'm more worried about, just to have a centre back and extra there to replace Dyer Sanchez. I think Dyer Sanchez really working very well. They've got very good confidence, but that's not the reason because the back four are working well together. It's because the back four and the centre midfield players together working very, very good, and they're understanding each other. That model, as long as that works together, we have a very solid defense behind. And I can see that with Sanchez Dyer, they're really growing game by game. And I think this is what I experienced at that time when we had George Graham. We have 10 games in a row, nearly by 1 or 2 goals we conceded. Not more than that, because we were solid at the back, but we also understand each other with the centre midfield players. And once that combination works very well, and that's what's working now with the centre midfield player, then that's well. But I'm more worried the centre midfield player, and of course that creative centre midfield player needs to be in there. But I think you can replace that with other quality players we have already in the squad.
Ramon, both Rickies have mentioned Tanguy Ndombele, of course, a record signing. All of us know what qualities he has. How does Nuno Espirito Santo get him playing again? Because we won't want him just sitting around doing nothing until January at the earliest.
No, he would not see anything in January. I think Nuno, it's very kind of a manager. He knows what the squads are. He knows how many games are from now to January. We have a lot of games coming up. We're coming off with a very, very intense season last year as well with the pandemia. It was not an easy one because for everybody, even including the fans, it was a very strange season, to be honest with you. For that point of view, I think even for the players as well, mentally and emotionally, it was a difficult one. Now, I think this year will be not different. So from Nuno's point of view, he would be happy within a couple of months' time or coming up to Christmas time that he has somebody to replace when some injuries coming up.
Ramon, I've got to ask you why you're on here. Of course,
mate.
you weren't happy about the Harry Kane situation during the summer. Tell us your thoughts on Harry Kane.
Should we start there again? I've got bored about it, to be honest with you. He's Tottenham, and he was Tottenham before. He knows himself. He's old enough to what he's done. My point of view, I stick to my opinion. What the way he's handled it, completely disrespectful. Shoot the fans. Could have handled it completely different, and he knows that. And the better he comes out, and quicker he comes out and says that he made a mistake, I think everybody will understand that, because everybody's not perfect. But in my point of view, he disrespects the club, he disrespects the fans, most important, because that's the ones really adore him and love him, you know. In my point of view, at this point and now, at the moment, the only thing he has to do is to win something with Spurs. Until then, my respect or my disrespect is still there.
Ramon, realistically though, how long do you think that he will be a Tottenham Hotspur player?
Well, at this point now, he has, I think, another, 3 years, is it? Something like that, isn't it? He's talking about prolonging. From my point of view, I think until nobody pays the amount the club wants to have, I think he's a Tottenham Hotspur player. And I think as a professional player, at this point, you need to be professional, concentrate for your club, and do the talking on the pitch. Anything else, at this point, I don't want to hear about Harry Kane, to be honest with you. Because
can I pick up on it as well after? Yeah, Ramon, I when you did that interview, I think on Sky, there was definitely elements I agreed with you on, because for me, I know Cristiano to maybe take up too much time on a Harry Kane debate, but there was such a different angle that Kane could have gone down that would have probably got him the move to City and also kept intact his respect with the Spurs fans. I think it's well known that obviously there's a situation with the owners where there is a split amongst the supporters. And I think if Kane had gone down the lines to say, look, you know, I love the fans, adore the football club. Ultimately, for me, it's about winning trophies and it's about the direction the club is going in. I just don't feel the club have invested sufficiently over the course of the last couple of seasons. That's also my reason for moving. I think every Tottenham fan... Stop,
Rick, stop. Exactly that conversation. I want to win trophies. I want to win these. What, are you disrespecting the club you're playing to? What?
No, but
are they not good enough 7 years ago when he joined the Tottenham Hotspurs as a player, as a young player? He will be happy. From my point of view, it's very important. If you were talking about Tottenham Hotspur, where you're just saying about the transfer room potential was 4 to 10, you're putting Tottenham Hotspurs as a top club. Are we assuming? Or where are you putting Tottenham at this point now? Is it a top club or is it a mid club or lower club?
No,
that's what I want to know. Because then I can argue with you about, I want to win trophy. I'm sorry, why did you not win for Tottenham?
Well,
he had the Champions League final.
Yeah,
listen, he had the chance to do it. From my point of view, that's an absolutely silly excuse. You're playing for a very, 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 very good club. It's called Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yeah,
and he has an adorable kind of fans who absolutely adored him to bits. And you're going to go and actually, pretty much slap their faces, frankly saying, disrespect the club in the same time. And I say, I'm too good now. I want to win trophies somewhere else now.
All I'm saying is, I
don't accept that. I don't accept that. I will not accept this.
If it's about a case for Kane, though, what I'm saying is, for me, he could have handled the situation so much differently from a PR perspective. And I think what I would have said is, if he wanted to get the move, he would have got that and still maybe kept intact the respect of the Spurs fans. But like you said, the way he went about it, and this is where I'm going to agree with you, the way he went about it, unfortunately for me, will never sit well with some Spurs fans. I think he will find it very hard to still have that same relationship that he once did. I think it is going to be very hard. I still think even if now Kane scores 30 goals this season, I still think there'll be Spurs fans out there that will still view him differently to what he has been over the course of the last 12 months because of what's happened,
hope so.
how it's been dealt with.
Well, listen, I hope so. Listen, Rick, I played for Tottenham and I got massive stick with the fans. Tottenham, whilst I was playing. I'm telling you that now. Massive. Do I complain once about it? No.
I know. And, yeah.
Sorry. Did I win something for the club?
You did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What did he want so far?
I hear you. I completely agree.
I'm sorry. That's it. Conversation is finished there. Immediately there. So from my point of view, at this point, until he not wins a trophy for Tottenham Hotspur, my respect is not there for him. As simple as that.
Do you know what though, Ramon? It's so frustrating for all of us fans because when we, I talk about trophies a lot. Both Rickies know that I talk about trophies on most videos. 13 years without a trophy is crazy, isn't it?
No, of course it's crazy. Of course, we all want to win, and every club you play or whatever fans up and down the country, they want to win something for them. Tottenham Hotspur is a very special club, okay, and it's a London club without a doubt. Now we're at top of the league. It's a very good time to be a Spurs supporter, and I hope it stays like that. And I always love to play for Tottenham, and I put everything into the Tottenham. I could food, I could done everything will happen at White Hart Lane. But at the end of the day, I smile at them and I show my little medal and I say, that's what I'll give you back. Anything else, I don't have to answer anymore. And they can do whatever they want. They're booing with it. They can say this like me, whatever it is. I don't really care in that point of view because I play for the club.
No, that's
a very important point, Ricky. Now, from his point of view now, and I don't like, because I always protect teammates or players, because I was a player as well all the time. And at the dressing room, at that time when Sol Campbell left to Arsenal, I put them aside and I told them off. That's wrong, just to let you know. And I'm the type of person, in the same thing with Harry Kane. I think I'm right to say he was wrong, and I think he's definitely wrong what he's done in the way. He knows that. And at this point in the moment, we don't have to talk anymore about him. He is a Spurs player, was before, and he's still a player. The only time I want to talk about him, he lifts a trophy. Anything else, I'm not interested.
You know,
Ramon, just want to come back on that. When you told him off, what did he say?
Well, can I swear here?
Feel like Kane wanting to leave.
Showed him his paycheck.
No, well, it were definitely not nice words. Let's call it that, okay. And then I told the way I say it all the time, straight to the point. And sometimes when people don't like the truth, they get angry. That's the way it is. You know?
But in the current side right now, do you think that they would feel a bit aggrieved against Harry for wanting to leave and in fact staying there? Do you think that
Ricky,
some
listen,
people
Ricky,
might feel like you?
Rick, it's a good question. If I was a team member now at Tottenham Hotspurs, and I hear my teammate at the public or saying that I want to go away because I don't want to win trophies, I will go the next training session as a defender. Good night, don't defend against me, because I'll tell you what, you will have a hard time against me, because you would disrespect me. Because what? I'm not good enough suddenly in your teammate?
Yeah,
what is it?
Yeah.
Would you? If I'm with you at the show, and I say Rick is crap because I want to go another show, would you be happy about it?
Yeah, it's true.
That's pretty
much a signal. That's the signal that's been given. Would you be happy about that as a teammate? No.
Do you think then, Ramon? There is do you think it would have been a divide in that changing room then? Do you think there would have been?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt, and you can see that. Of course, the players are professional. To the outside, they were never going to admit. But when you're inside, we are a unit, and we always have to keep unit, because you protect your unity. You don't go out to tell what's going on inside the dressing room, because that's not their business, frankly saying. You know. But we had that in my time, and I can say that now because I'm not playing now active. But we had some major disruption in the dressing room. And you have to sort that out whatever way, because I tell you what, because when you come on Saturday afternoon, it's coming up, you do not feel as a team, because you hate each other, and you just do not that extra yard. You need to do that tackle, and that's where you're losing the games. And that's why I'm actually super proud of this team now, because Man City, we're talking about one of the contenders of the Premier League and winner of the Premier League. Okay. Yeah. So the win against them at home with this attitude is very professional. And that's why, and without Harry Kane, and without him saying public, well done, we won. because only at Wolves he's done that because he was part of that. It also shows you a little bit kind of is he a team member or is he just a part of it, or he's just like taking the piss now?
Ramon, I'll tell you what, you're getting a lot of love in these comments here, loving your honesty. And, you know, for those people that don't know, please tell everybody that when you won the League Cup with Tottenham in 1999, you actually played with a broken ankle.
Absolutely. I was crazy, to be honest with you, absolutely nuts. But I didn't want to miss that final whatsoever. And I went into it, and a lot of painkillers, to be honest, you know. If I look back now, it was worthwhile every single minute, because now I can talk about, I have a medal. I can't see it now behind me because I haven't got that here, but next show I will show it. You know, I'm very proud. 20 years later, I'm still proud about it. And it was worthwhile every minute, even with a lot of pain, you know. And it was wonderful to see the Spurs supporters at Wembley Stadium. The smile on them when you come out of the stadium, the cheer, the party afterwards as well with them, you know, it was just off the clock. Let's say that way. Listen, it was North London was just Tottenham Hotspur, simple as that, you know. And I think to experience that as a player and actually give them that joy to the fans, and that's all about football, mate.
Ricky, let's come to you now. Let's talk a little bit about what Tottenham can achieve this season. What are you expecting after this transfer window?
You know what, Chris? As long as the performances improve and as long as it looks like we're going in the right direction, for me, that is what I need to see. Realistically, probably top 6. But I would love them to challenge for the top 4. And you've got to remember, when we first got into the top 4, nobody would have said that side, that 11, would have been a squad capable of top 4. You know, they outperformed their own expectation, and we started to build that. And I think that we're in a situation right now where we can do the same, where we can start building on performances and start building on some brotherhood and some unity. You know, and you know, you got to remember. I know we're speaking about. I know we're speaking about Kane there.
In a minute.
He is still a world-class striker that will get us 30 goals. Do you know what I mean? You got to look at Sonny being a world-class winger striker. You know, so there is goals in that side. It is step-up season for a lot of the side.
I'm on again,
Lucas. It's a step-up season, and like Rick was saying there, like who scores if they're not involved? But it's step-up season. Like we need the rest of the squad to step up. So I'm quite kind of confident, more confident now than I was before the season started. But I'm quite confident now that we are building on the right terms, off of a solid foundation.
Ramon, you just gone for a refill.
I'm going to grab my charger as well. So.
I just feel up, Ramon. Oh mate, come on, you Spurs, mate. Come on, mate. Listen, let's cheer up a little bit. Top of the league. What can you do? Raise the glass.
Love it.
You know, win.
This is probably my favourite show that I've ever done. So thank you, Ramon. Rick, let's come to you. David writes on the screen now. Apparently, the club feel that Heung-min Son can play as a striker. Now, we have been in this position before.
Oh, honestly, Chris, this is my biggest frustration when I speak to Spurs fans. The amount of people that tell me that they label Son in the category as a striker, but he's not a striker. He's an attacker. Listen, he can play out the left, he can play out the right. Son is a wonderful player, and he has stepped up. And you know what I will say with Son, I think he actually enjoyed stepping up in the absence of Harry Kane. I think he actually enjoyed becoming that main man. But I think we can't kid ourselves. Harry Kane, Heung-min Son is not a striker. And
I can't.
Oh gosh. This is a proper house party.
The problem is, I want to get really angry by this question, but I keep looking at Ramon and pissing myself, so I can't get angry about it.
Sorry, Rick, mate. I don't want to be rude, mate.
No, it's
Sorry
fine.
about, mate.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Mate, just cracking up, mate. Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate.
Back to your question,
Rick,
Chris.
let's play with you. Now, when you look at the squads of Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, the investment they've made this summer,
Yeah.
how will Tottenham or how can Tottenham get in the top four?
Well, I think like Ramon said earlier, he doesn't see this as being the season where Tottenham are doing that. I think, you know, we're viewing it as more of a transitional season. So realistically, I think you look at United, they've got Ronaldo. I think it's very hard, even though I think Solskjaer's quite inept and I think he's a good enough coach to get United to a title. I think United by signing Ronaldo, to me, I think would guarantee them top four. I think Chelsea with Lukaku in there, they're a stronger team as well. Obviously, you look at Liverpool, they've still got some quality players. Liverpool, they haven't done a huge amount of business. I think with Jurgen Klopp there, Liverpool, it's going to be very, very hard to see them falling out of the top four. And of course, City, despite not having a striker, this is the difference between City and Tottenham. City have got goals all around the pitch. I'm sorry to say, as I brought up earlier, Spurs' midfield, Dele Alli, Højbjerg, Skip, and you look at the attackers, Bergwijn, Lucas. How many goals did that get last season? Very little. And obviously, I know Skip wasn't here, but 5-6 goals at best. That is not enough in terms of contribution of a team to get you into the top four. It's not. And like you said earlier, Chris, you take out Vinicius's goals, you take out Gareth Bale's goals. That's a lot of goals less in a squad. And I've got to be realistic with you. I think if you're looking at this season, for me, just being brutally honest, and it's weird because I'm one normally asking the question, so it's nice, refreshing to be able to do a show like this and give my thoughts. I honestly think for Tottenham at the moment, I think it's hard to see us finish any higher than 5th or 6th at the moment. And that obviously hurts me to say that. I want to see Spurs get into the top four. I want to see Spurs play in the Champions League. But I think realistically, with the business that we've done at the moment, I think Spurs, for me, are just cementing themselves again as a Europa League club, which obviously is disappointing because I want to see the club in the Champions League because they've got the stadium, they've got the training ground, but they ultimately need the squad to get there. And I just think over the course of the season, with the business that we've done in terms of the attacking sense, and then you look at the defence, I still think Sanchez and Dyer, there's a comment here earlier said it as well, I just don't see how that back two, when you pair either of them with Romero, I don't think that's going to be good enough to see Spurs sustain a top four battle. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm eating my words. I really do, because I really like the manager. I really like some of the players that we've got there. I just think the squad overall just isn't good enough where it's at now. Hopefully in January, we do invest and we do look to push on. But I think it's going to be very, very tricky with the players that we've got there at the moment to say it's a top four finish.
Rick, comment on screen now from Joey. Under this board, we always seem to bid big, but never get. It's exactly the point you made earlier, isn't it? It's what did you really expect to happen in this transfer window? Because we're never going to do everything in one window, are we?
No, we're not. We're not. Was that to me? Or was that to Ricky?
Go on, Ramon. Go on.
Oh, Ramon. Okay. I'll sit back and get the popcorn.
Salt and sugar, mate. Mixed, mate, by the way. Popcorn's in it. So do you ask me, mate, Chris? Huh?
Yeah, Ramon, I suppose, we're never going to do everything in one window.
No, this is a dream, guys. Come on, mate. Listen, for 2 or 3 seasons, we don't do anything in the window. And then suddenly you in one window want to do, God knows, about 20 players. Come on. Where do we live, eh? Let's be real about this stuff, Listen, we were happy enough. We've done some transaction this season. There's no doubt without that, top of the table gives a little bit of lift to the players, the club, the fans, but also some other players might be in conversation for the future. They say, well, this is the club to come because they're really aiming for the top four, So January market is always a very, very difficult one, mate. January market, either you're absolutely desperate for a player, and I hope you're not in that situation. You really need to spend the money because you really need to have that for the next 6 months. But I never would do something if it's not 100% sure you want that player for the January, It's potentially maybe one, if there's a good deal coming up, it might be coming up by January because some of the clubs around Europe need money. They might come to Tottenham. But now is a good time to rebuild and try to scout proper players for the next season. And be honest with you, we have to respect the squad we have. Listen, we beat Manchester City. And Manchester City spent hundreds of millions already on these transfers, way much more than Tottenham Hotspur, and we won them.
That
1-0.
was a depleted though squad, Ramon. I'm sorry to cut you there, but we've got to the squad that City had that day was quite depleted. De Bruyne only came on with 5 minutes to go.
I'm not interested what Manchester City's squad was in that day. They play against Tottenham. Either they play against Tottenham with the full squad or not. I'm not really interested about Manchester City in this case. They spent money. If you're talking about the transfer window money, not about the squad. It's about how much Tottenham actually spend and how much Manchester City spent. It's completely different, and we beat them. So it's not the question how much you're spending. It's actually what kind of quality you're bringing in, and actually what you're replacing. Because you can spend hundreds of millions of pounds and you're not replacing the right person into the squad. I think, and let's also be fair about the overall kind of managing of the club. You know, we'd be lucky that the club has been managed wisely as well, financially as well, because we are with limited way of terms of investing it. We maximize the maximum output at this club. Not all the club in the Premier League done that. They're spending much more money and have potentially less financial reward compared to Tottenham Hotspurs. I think we need to look at that business side point of view. You need to have a balance. Okay, what's the situation now? Can we actually really spend so much for the next 2-3 years? Can we risk that? We had a very hard 14 months or something like that because no income whatsoever, especially for the fans not coming into it. TV rights potentially will come down and everything else. Let's have one season with maximize with the minimum kind of investment coming into it and see how it works. And I think it's wiser to do that than just go gang home, just spend a lot of money, and then end of the season we're still there where we are today talking we're not top 4.
Yeah, and in fairness, Rick, the Harry Kane team beat Manchester City's, Pep Guardiola without Harry Kane, and of course Jack Grealish, £100 million signing. He was on the pitch. So, Ramon, a comment on screen for you now. Can you ask Ramon if it's true that Christian Gross burnt out the team in training before the 6-1 loss against Chelsea when you scored the only goal? Because of course we spoke before on this channel about Christian Gross having new players running around in car parks before matches.
I think it's all kind of a myth in a way, to be honest with you. No, not at all. I think Christian Gross come in an area where Tottenham Hotspur, let's be very frank, when I joined Tottenham Hotspurs, I thought I was going to the 18th century back in terms of how the infrastructure was. I come from Italy, the Serie A, the training ground, the gym was not existing. I got a David Lloyd's card, go yourself to get fit. I was like, look at the physio in his eyes, and he said, "Excuse me." He says, "Tottenham Hotspur, which club don't hire me?" So that was way behind in the professional side point of infrastructure. If I look at now what these guys have for the infrastructure, I would be loving to train there. And we had absolutely the opposite. Actually, nothing. I had the David Lloyd's card, and I have to train myself. And Christian Gross, of course, coming from Switzerland and had coached also in Germany. In the continent at the time, the infrastructure and professional point of view, how to look after yourself and the diet and everything was weird. It's in our DNA since we were young kids at the youth. I came to England, it was a completely different planet. So he was not really kind of mashing our stuff before the Chelsea game. It's really kind of, that's the way you now even do it now, that before the training, before the game, you put your muscles back to warm up, so you're not really cold before you go into the game, and that's what he's done. He's not walk around or run around before the games. He really just going for a walk just to make sure the muscles are ready for the game, and I think if we look back now in the 90s compared to today, it's the Premier League became far now, especially on the professional side point of view.
I'm just going to go back to Rick now because I know, Rick, you've got to go. Just want to get your thoughts very quickly on the 5 signings that we've, the players that we have signed in this transfer window. Golini, Hill, Emerson Royal, Romero and Pape Matar Sarr. Realistically, where do you see Tottenham Hotspur finishing at the end of the season with these players?
Yeah, listen, I mean, first on Golini, obviously he's come in as a long-term replacement for Hugo Lloris, who's been formidable for Tottenham. I think Lloris will only get the credit he deserves probably once he leaves Tottenham. I think he's been such a formidable goalkeeper for us, and we all hope Golini's going to be that next main man for us. And fingers crossed, from what we've seen early days, looks a fairly good goalkeeper. I think Romero will be fantastic for us. We need a ball playing centre half that is keen to get out from the back, take us forward. A lot of money spent, but again, very keen to see what he does. Hill, I know it's only against Pajo de Ferreira, but was very impressed by the way He glides with the ball. I mean, I've already seen comparisons to Modric and Ginola, not to get too carried away, of course. But no, he looks like he could be a very, very promising prospect. Emerson Royale, I mean, I think it's heavily known that Spurs were in the market for Takahiro Tomiyasu. So they must feel that Emerson Royale is a step up to obviously want to go for him. By all accounts, listen, was at Real Betis last season, some good stats there. Fingers crossed he's going to be great for us. I don't want to be negative. I think, yes, and of course, keeping Kane's been massive for the football club. Keeping Ndombele will hopefully work out well. I just want to be realistic, and I don't want to. Obviously, I'd love to come on here and sit here and say Spurs will gate crash the top four, and we'll win all the cups. I just think at the moment where Spurs are at, it is a transitional season, and I think there will be times where we're not going to get certain results because of the squad depth there. And I think when you're lacking that lock picker to bring off the bench, that's where I feel Spurs at times may struggle. We need to get more out of that midfield. And I keep saying that tonight, but I generally believe when you look at across the midfield, if we can get more goals out of the likes of Dele, Skip, Højbjerg, Lucas, Bergwijn, we could have a great season. But I think Spurs will ultimately, for me, and I want to eat my words to one of the comments that said there, I want to eat my comments and say Spurs, won't get in the top four. I really want Spurs to get into the top four, of course. But I think realistically, I think Spurs are going to probably end up 5th or 6th. And I want to be wrong. Hopefully we can go find the cups. Hopefully we take the FA Cup seriously, the League Cup seriously. I want to see Spurs win the Europa Conference League. I must just say that point. I know a lot of people are saying, been off the Europa Conference League. I don't agree with that. That's a great tool for the development of the younger players, the likes of Sessegnon, even though I like to Skip. I think, there's players coming through that need games. So I generally think that competition could work really well for Tottenham. And even psychologically, if we were to win that will, again, provide the club to get a monkey off its back. I know it's a competition that only puts us back into the Europa League, but it's ultimately a trophy. And I think as Spurs fans, like you said earlier, Chris, how long it's been, we can't, I don't think, be arrogant enough to want to throw a trophy. So I want to see Spurs take that competition very, very seriously. I don't mean by putting out the first team every week, but what I do want to see is Spurs put out an 11 that is capable enough of getting the results. And just to say to Ramon, I know we'll talk about Harry Kane, but listen, I hope Harry is dedicated for the rest of the season, gets his head down, and can hopefully steer Spurs to winning trophies. But yeah, I think at the moment 5th and 6th, the realistic ambition. Let's see what's to come in January. I live for the windows, Chris. So hopefully Spurs are there again in the transfer market and want to invest and strengthen the squad.
Well, Ramon and Ricky, I'm just going to get your thoughts in a second, but I know Rick's got to go now. So, Rick, thanks so much for joining us, and tell everyone where they can find you, because, of course, you've just started the Last Word on Spurs YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
thank you so much for that, Chris. Yeah, so of course, Last Word on Spurs on YouTube now for the good or for the worse. I'm not too sure. You guys can be the judge of that, but. Listen, we've got some great shows coming your way. I've got obviously wonderful Chris is coming on. We've got Rick's coming on soon, and Ramon, no doubt. I'm sure I'll be in touch and ask you to bring that microphone with you. I can't wait to look forward to that in the near future. And
absolutely, Ricky.
Make sure you bring that wine as well with you. Make sure you bring that wine. Of course,
I don't think it would be funnier than this show.
Definitely not. I'll tell you what, this will take some topping. I think this is going to hit the charts by the time I come off. I'll tell
you. I think it will. Well, Rick, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Nice one, Gaffer.
Nice, Ricky. Cheers, mate. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thank you so much.
Ramon, let's come to you. Now, Rick was talking there about the Europa Conference League. How seriously do you think Nuno Espirito Santo will take this competition?
He has to take it very seriously. If he was a manager, it's one of the competition. He potentially can win the trophy there. Yes, on the first game, we all thought, what does he do here? All the youngsters coming out. But it's good for him to show what kind of squad depth he had in terms of the youngster, the talents, and also them to give experience on a European level, what it means to play for Tottenham Hotspur as well, even against them. And I think it was a good run out. He got to know, because Nuno is very detailed and data orientated. He will look at that game and analyze it to every single player who was on that pitch, to every single corner, free kicks, everything. Every passes, everything will be looked into it, He will then say to each single player what the improvements should be going into it in the next few weeks and months, to be ready, be actually ready to be a replacement for some of the top players we have in the squad as well. So he can actually choose and know when replacements needed, i.e. by injuries, he knows to who he can count into from mindset point of view, the mentality, the attitude, and of course the quality in big game occasions coming up like this. And I think it's a good test for the youngsters to go through it and do that. And of course, once the full squad is into it, we showed that the quality of Tottenham is there as well. They went through it, and I think this cup, it will be a very good choice for Tottenham to potentially go all the way and win it. It will be fantastic. At the same time, I think it's a season where you need to go step by step. We should enjoy every positive kind of points we acquire. At this point, we are 9, of course. It's great. And obviously, it's not going to have. Well, I hope so. It's going to be all the season like that. But let's be realistic. It's not going to happen like that, okay? Because the competition is very strong as well. But as long as consistency is there, this is a very good start of the season for Tottenham, and that can go all the way, because they can go back to these 3 games and see the confidence, or gain that confidence they actually put into it in these 3 games. And when they had a bad, potentially few games or 3 games going to happen, because most of the teams in the Premier League have that 1 or 2 games or 3 that have a bad moment, they can go back and study that level, that confidence, to be in the mindset to be coming back and be strong again. So it's very, very positive from my point of view where we are now with Tottenham Hotspurs.
Ramon, there's a couple of David. Sorry, Rick. I won't be a
it's all
sec.
right, mate.
Couple of David Ginola questions here. One from Paul. What was it like playing and training with David Ginola? And then Lappers82 writes here, Ramon must have had some banter with David Ginola during that L'Oreal advert, because I'm worth it.
Absolutely. Because I'm worth it. And have a glass of wine. He always has a fag, by the way, all the time. Goodness me, mate. I was roommating with him as well in all the away games, At one stage, I needed to sleep actually in the bathroom with so much smoke in the room, Because he's smoking like he was absolutely always having his fag, and it's just amazing what kind of character, of course, he is. And of course, in the end of the pitch, he's very creative. He's a fantastic player. There's no question about that, But yeah, I was always on a banter with him. There's no even a question mark every single training session, and we had a good laugh. And, it was great to be part of with him as a teammate,
Rick, what do you want to say?
Firstly, Ginola was my hero. So to hear any story from Ginola, I love that. I love that. But I was just gonna give an example of the point that Ramon made about the Conference League and Nuno being astute. Because from the first game to the second game, yes, the first game was full of youth. It was full of the kids. But if you look at that second game, yes, he put more first teamers in there. But for me, it was how he assessed Brian Hill and what he'd done with him. So in the first game, he took it on himself. He said, you know what, we might have put him in the wrong positions here. We might push him too far left or too far right. I'm going to work on that, and we're going to help him and give him a position that is going to work for him. And we saw an improved performance in the second game where he played in Dele Alli's slot right now, the left of the midfield 3. And I think we saw an improved performance. We're going to see improved performance the more he plays for us. He's a new player. We know this, but to give an example to the point that Ramon was making there, he made that assessment, and he shifted him and gave him the confidence and boosted him again in the second game. And I think we saw what that was about. Even Nuno's comments on Sessegnon, he said that he was struggling. He spoke about the choices that he was making. Very open, very honest, and it shows you where his head's at, and just reiterates Ramon's point there.
Ricky, do you think that Nuno Espirito Santo and Tottenham Hotspur Football Club will take this competition seriously though, and go all out to win it, and perhaps even meet Jose Mourinho and Roma in the final?
I think they will. I think like Rick was saying earlier, they're going to use it as a bit of a development a development competition. But I think once it gets down to the serious business, I think that's when our first team or our first team players start to come in and start to go for it, because we can't be arrogant and just throw it away. It's a European trophy. It's the first time that this competition's ever existed. So why can't we go out there then why can't we go and go for the win? You know, I don't see any reason why not. The only ones that could trouble us will probably be Roma. And like, let's see them in the final. Let's see them in the final. But you know what? I want to make another point as well before we get into the comments. But you know, we're forgetting all about Rodon. So we've spoken about Romero, we've spoken about Dyer, we've spoken about Sanchez, but we haven't spoken about Rodon. And it's only because he's been injured since he's come back. He hasn't had no pre-season and stuff like that. But if we look at the performances that he put in, like, and leadership performances that he put in for Wales over the Euros, there's a career. I would love to know what Ramon thought about Rodon as a defender. Do you know what I mean? And whether he can grow into the role, and whether he can take Dyer's place, or he can be like a starter. You know.
No, you agree with that. I think, as I say, this game, or the first game at the Euro Conference, and coming back to your question, Chris, if they take it serious, there's actually an offence to the competition to even ask this question. As a professional club, you have to take every single competition seriously. Whoever says they don't take it seriously, for me, is a very arrogant.
Well, I use that term, Ramon, because back in your day when you were playing, every single team put their first team out in these competitions.
Yes.
And then it all changed within the last 20, 25 years. It's all changed.
Well, football has changed also the 25 years. The money went higher, and some of the competition are more potentially important. There's more competition, more games as well for the players in the same time compared to in my days in the 90s. You know, so from a player's point of view, it's quite overwhelming how many games you actually play in a season. You know, and is it healthy? From a player's point of view, I don't think so. It's the right way. I think less is more. More quality in the same time, I believe. But unfortunately, the business model of football is the more competition, the more viewers, the more money. That's the way, unfortunately, the ecosystem works, you know. And the players has to be part of it, of course, you know. Now, more money, bigger squad, therefore that's why you say the rotation of players is more today than actually was in the 90s, because in the 90s there wasn't as big squad today because there was less money. You couldn't have 25, 30 players, top players, let's call it. You might have 15, 16, and the rest will really major youth academy or youngsters coming through it potentially or has no experience whatsoever, you know. That has changed. In one part it's good because in another way the youngsters has less opportunity to come through to the first team, where I find it quite also a shame, to be honest with you. So coming back to your question, you have to take serious any competition and make sure you win this competition. I think it's a good time for Tottenham Hotspur to win such and it's the first one also in the European way for Tottenham as well.
Ramon, James wants me to get a commitment from you that you're coming on this channel again because you've been great. You've been a great guest. And Ollie writes here that you need to do nightclub. You'd make a killing. I'll tell you what, the comments for you tonight have been absolutely fantastic. People have absolutely loved you being on this channel. So I can't wait to have you back.
Listen, Chris, it's always a pleasure. Listen, sometimes you need to have some banter. Otherwise, life is too serious, you know, with all the crap that's going around us all the time, every day, we're reading, you know. I think it's good to have some banter and some laugh about some potential serious stuff. But when it comes to serious conversation, I think then you need to be very straight and to the point, you know. But at the same time, I always up for a laugh, mate. I'll tell you that now. There's no even a question, mate.
Well, do you know what, Ramon? I think we've seen a serious side to you tonight, and we've seen a fantastic side to you tonight, a very, laughable side. So it's been absolutely brilliant. Ricky, last question for both of you. Where realistically do you see Tottenham Hotspur finishing at the end of this season?
I'd say top 6. But I think, like I said, what's more important to me is to see this side develop, grow, and push in the right direction. I think that's what's gonna, it's gonna encourage players to come to the side next summer, and it's gonna, we need to lift our profile again, because I've never been as low as a Tottenham fan in a long while as I was at the end of last season. I thought we probably would have, before this summer transfer period started, I thought we was going to end up like 9th, 10th. So to say 5th or 6th, I think there is a progression there, but it's more in the way we play, the development of our play, the game plans, what I see the desire and the want and the kind of fire from the 11 on the field at any one time. So that's what's more key to me. If I don't see any more W gaps in the back four, fantastic. Do you know what I mean? But I want to see that want and desire. I want to see that effort. I want to see them going for it, regardless of what Man City have got or Man United or Chelsea. I don't care. You know, like Ramon said, this is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So go for it. You know, work outside yourself. You know, leave everything on the field. And that's when I'll be happy, regardless of where we finish.
Absolutely.
Ramon, we haven't even spoken about the players that have left in this summer transfer window. Toby Alderweireld, Wayne Foyth, Joe Hart, Moussa Sissoko, Danny Rose, Paulo Gazzaniga, Sergio Aurier, Dennis Serkin, Eric Lamela, and Jabril Okidina. Were there any other players that you wanted to see leave this summer?
Well, I'm not going to name now kind of players because I would be disrespecting them, to be honest with you. But I think it was good that these players went out for a lot of reasons. There was for a long time no new blood within the team. And when that new blood doesn't come in the team, then the team doesn't get really that spirit of winning because it's just you're there, you're part of it, but you're not having got the excitement of competition, of your own place as well, etc. Everybody was kind of sitting there quite comfortably without being actually pushed to the edge to listen. You need to play well, otherwise on the Saturday you're not going to play. As simple as that. And most of these players most likely wasn't on that level, and it was good also to integrate new blood because that's always good because it excites the dressing room. The new players, always when you join a new club, you're always excited because you want to give 100% everything. You want to show the fans, the club, that you are worth to play for this club, and that spirit and emotional side that will go through the dressing room, and that's very good. I think from that point of view, I wish all the players are left done very well for Tottenham. Some of that quality, Lamela is going to a very good club, Sevilla. I know very well. I deal with the Sporting Director and the club extremely in terms of development of the players. He's one of the best, I think, development player team in Europe. He's in a very good team. I think it suits him, that lead as well, in the same time, the way the quality he plays and the creativity. And you can see he has a straight impact. The minute he played for Sevilla, he scored and he's part of it. So most of the players as well, I think they served very well for Tottenham. You know, they've done extremely well for considering we didn't done too many transfers in the last 4 or 5 years before Mourinho came into it, before the Champions League with Pochettino. Don't forget, we didn't have many transfers, only youngsters coming in or add on 1 or 2 potentially. And these guys have been there 5, 6 years and done very well, and done it so well that they came all the way to the Champions League final. So they deserve applause for what they've done, the maximum for the club.
Ramon, we've got another comment on screen for you here. Do you think that Harry Kane is similar to Batistuta, who you played against in Serie A?
No, not at all whatsoever. Batistuta was in a different level. Batistuta was a proper 18 yards box striker. I don't see Harry Kane at the level of Gabriel Batistuta, without a doubt. If Harry Kane would played in the 90s when Gabriel was playing with the best defenders in the world in this area, I don't think he will be scoring the same as Gabriel. Because they're talking Costa Curta, Maldinis, you name it, top defenders in the world, with the top strikers in the planet as well. They were playing there. Ronaldo, the Brazilian at the time, Batistuta. There was also Pepe Signori, Robe Baccio, Savicevic, Boban. You name it. We took in the best strikers in the world, you know, and I played against them, so I do know what level. Of course, he's up there, but Gabi is a winner.
Who did you hate playing against? Who did you hate playing against?
Well, in the Italian Serie A, I hated very much against Robbie Baccio at that time. He was small, very creative, very kind of unpredictable in terms how, where he goes, and I'm quite a big fella, so for him, have a small player like that to defend, it was very, very difficult, very skillful. He would be one, but there's not even a question. The Ronaldo, the Brazilian, was the most difficult one in the planet to even defend. That guy was like, the minute he turned on you, you better call the taxi. It's much better because you're getting embarrassing, I'm telling you now, just say, taxi, sorry, mate, I'm done here, mate. Let's get off the pitch, and he's quite cheeky. He's just giving a little smile, and pass by, But there's no question mark. That was one of the most difficult ones, to be honest with you.
Ramon, there's questions galore coming in for you here. Lappers82 writes, what did you really think of Jerry Francis's spiky mullet and our purple pony kit?
Completely pony, by the way. Oh, Joe, bless him, Jerry Francis, mate. Oh, bless him. He had some absolutely fashionable jumpers on, mate. Some green. I still can imagine at the dressing room before the games, these beautiful green jumpers he had on, But great guy, great gentleman, to be honest with you. But I think some fashion needs to be required there and be advised how he needs to be dressed, But he was a great guy,
Rick, have you still got your purple pony kit?
Mate, I can't fit in it anymore, but it's I've got it, man. I've got it. I've got the blue cream and gold one as well. I've got a couple, bruv. I've got a couple of those pony kits, man.
By the way, Chris, is this brand pony still exist or they're gone? They're pony now.
I think they still exist. Yeah, I think they still exist.
Yeah.
My pony, mate. That's proper pony, mate.
Ramon,
they're
do
called
you still have
now.
all of your shirts?
Huh?
Do you still have all of your shirts?
Yes, some of them I have. I definitely got the pony shirt. And actually, by the way, when I joined Spurs, this has got actually now reminds me of the pony. I went to their manufacturer up north, and Pony wanted to sponsor me at the time because I joined Spurs. And so they wanted to impress me, so they might invite me all the way up to north, and have nice little manufacturing there, and show me all the latest boots, technology. And I was Adidas, of course, to start with, of course. And this Gary Neville also was there, and his brother. They were also kind of in there to trying to get Pony as a sponsor. So I walked in, looked at all the shoes, the models, and he said, "Can I try it out?" I tried them out, and they said, "Please, this is proper Pony, eh?" And they say, "I tell you, no, mate, this is not for me. Let's get the train down south, mate."
And that was
I'm out
it.
of this. Yes, I'm out of this, mate. It's not for me, mate. So I stick to Adidas, and that's the only one I kept going. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an experience, quite a Pony experience, man.
Ramon, another question on screen for you. Do you think Eric Dyer is a better centre back or CDM?
Or CDM?
A central defensive midfielder.
I know. He was lazy to write it off. It's like a text message. So lazy to write it. Yes, I think it's. Listen, don't forget, Ledley King started as a centre defender midfield player. Ledley King, and he went up, but there would be a centre back. So when Ledley was starting with me at the time, he started was a centre midfield player. And then he came back into the back. So yes, I think it's better he's in the back. I think his position at this age now, with experience and everything, is good to be as a centre back, especially for Sanchez to have that kind of experience and mindset next to him.
Ramon, there's a comment on screen here from Adrian. What do you think of the Spurs fans, and have you been to the new stadium? I know you've been to the new stadium. I've seen you there drinking a wine.
Yeah, of course, mate. You have to, mate. There's no. If you go to Spurs, you need to have a glass. Otherwise, it's not. The stress level is unbearable. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, so yeah, we always enjoyed.
I saw you in the
going out.
pony tracksuit.
Yeah, listen, I've been to Spurs, I think, a couple of times. It's not they inviting me, you know that, Chris, because they never invite ex-players properly. You have to beg for a ticket, by the way. So, yeah, I've been there for the, let's say, rare occasion I've been invited to Tottenham Hotspurs. But when I go, I enjoy the food, to be honest with you. It's a lovely stadium. Let's get some trophies in that stadium.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Ramon, last question for you, because I tell you what, I could talk to you all night long. You're absolutely
Easy.
fantastic entertainment. Where do you realistically see Tottenham finishing at the end of this season?
Oh my dear, this show. What can I say? What can I say?
Actually, can I ask you another question?
Cracking, mate. Listen, Rick is cracking, mate. You're only on water, mate. I'm on wine, and you're cracking. It's unbelievable, mate. Can you imagine Ricky on wine? He'll be on the floor. Listen, mate. Listen, great. I was a Spurs supporter. You always want to be at the top, of course, you know, and we always dream to be on that. But in the realistic level point of view, I think if we reach a top 4, it's a huge bonus, let's call it. And I think the top 6 is realistic to be. And in my positive thinking point of view, winning the league will be the ultimate. So that's where it is, Chris. That's my mentality. I want to be the number 1.
We want to be number 1. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
But I'm also a realistic point of view. So I think the top 6 is also very good. And I think with the team we have the mentality that showed the last 3 games gives me quite a lot of confidence that they can bring consistency during this season. My favorite player is Son. That's my legend. He's for me the Son is the man at Tottenham Hotspurs. He should be also the captain, to be honest with you. He's tremendous. From my point of the last years, I think a little bit underestimated in terms of the player he is. For me, he's a world-class player. There's not even a question. Determination, the way he runs with happiness and his positivity he brings into it. It's very kind of, if I was playing with him, I would be addicted kind of just playing next to him because he really brings a lot of positivity and he scores. He's a fighter. He's back up and down. He serves balls as well to the other ones. And to be honest with you, he's for me the hero at this club at the point. Son is the man and the legend. There's no even a question mark. And I think if he continues playing like that, he will definitely attract all the players coming for next season, or maybe even January, because some of the quality players really want to play next to him. There's no doubt.
Well,
best signing, by the way, this season, transfer window, the best thing that happened for Tottenham, he extended.
Yeah, agreed.
That's not even a question mark. That was the best signal for Tottenham. He stayed and he extended. And from my point, he deserves any kind of applause because he is the man in that club.
Do you think Pony wanted to sign him as well? Well, Ramon, we've got some great news because a comment on screen now. The brand Pony is still going strong since 1972.
Oh, goodness me, mate. Wonderful, mate. I'm very happy for that, mate. And Rick is laughing.
Ramon, just very quickly, what have you made of Arsenal's season so far?
Let me look down. I'm looking down somewhere. Who do you think? Who are you talking about?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? On your phone, you can't even see the bottom of the league.
No, in my mindset, doesn't even go to look down. You know, I'm just looking up there. So,
fantastic.
And yeah, even mentioned the name doesn't come into my mind, to be honest with you. I'm not interested to talk about it and don't want to because it's not part of Tottenham Hotspur. He's our neighbour. We respect him as our neighbour, but we are number one. That's it.
But you know, we were talking about money and transfers. Look how much money they have spent, and I don't think they're getting any higher with those new additions that they've brought in. You know,
this is just as a good point you're saying about, you know, Ricky before talking about he was unhappy in terms of 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
What will you classify Arsenal then with that kind of level of money to spend? Well, 9 out of 10 suddenly, I would say 1 out of 10, and with a lot of money spent. So from my point of view, this is the balance you need to find out. Just spending the money just for the sake, brackets, to make the fans happy that we're spending money. I will never do that. I'm a realist. You have to balance it off and long-term view. And in this time, you have to make sure you make a rebuild, that these youngsters who are joining us, they're not just next season gone. The next 3 to 5 seasons are there. And once the rebuild is done, within a couple of seasons, you are stronger from that point of view. And then you can join some of the bigger players because they can see there is a squad there, there's consistency there, they stay together. And suddenly, big players want to join Tottenham because they can see there's a proper structure in place. They don't want to come to a club where players go in and out all the time. And I wouldn't go because I don't see stability. And I think this is what Tottenham is now trying to build. And I think from my point of view, this transfer window is, for the best possibility they can do, they've done a very good job, actually.
Yeah, I think so too.
So anyway,
we had such
a serious side, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ramon, I had such serious questions written down, but you know, the show just went out the window tonight. So I'm glad it did.
Right, mate. Well, next time I just guide the show and just answer the questions, and that's it. You know.
It's been absolutely fantastic. The viewers have absolutely loved tonight's show, Ramon. So I can't thank you enough for bringing your entertaining side. It's been absolutely brilliant. Ricky, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Always an honor, always a pleasure. I mean, to be on with Ramon as well tonight. Thank you for the invitation, Chris. You know what I mean? It's been fantastic to be on with a legend from Tottenham Hotspur. My dad is going to be smiling when he sees this. So no, thank you, bless you. Let's do it.
So Ricky, so your father is also Tottenham Hotspur supporter. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been Tottenham. He brought me up. I was Tottenham from when I was born. So because of him.
So your father was a Tottenham Hotspur supporter. That's why you go into the club. Okay, so as a little boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you play football as well, by the way?
No, I never play. I'm the actor. So that's what
are you an actor?
Dancing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're a copycat. Is that what you do?
Well, I can act like a copycat. But,
so you can copy me now.
Yeah.
You can copy me now.
I haven't got your mic skills, bro. I got the dancing, but I haven't got your mic skills, bro.
Well, listen, bro. I can do the whole bro stuff, mate. When you play, mate.
Do you want to sing us out, Ramon?
Oh.
In your pony tracksuit.
I got my pony pants up, mate. Ricky, mate. Listen, Ricky, it was wonderful to meet you. You're a fantastic actor, by the way. You know.
Thank you, mate.
It's good very pleased to meet you, and it's good you're a Spurs supporter, and it's great your father actually introduced to a very good club, by the way. Very good.
Yes, he did, man.
Very happy.
It's been a pleasure, boy.
Say hello to your dad, by the way. All the regards. I hope he's well, and hopefully one day we see each other.
I will do, bro. I look forward to it.
No worries, mate. Good luck with everything, mate. Huh?
Ramon, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I can't thank you enough. You've been a wonderful guest yet again. And please promise you will come back in the near future.
Listen, Chris, you know where I am. One text message is always yes. For Tottenham, always, my friend. You know that, you know? And I would just say to everybody, good luck. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And thank you so much for all of the fantastic comments that you've put in this evening. Tottenham Hotspur are still top of the Premier League. Long may it continue. Thank you very much to all of my guests tonight, Ricky, and Ramon. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on.